that I just learned about. That's how out of touch I be with the rest of what's going on. Excuse the background. I would say excuse my hair, but you know what? Your girl detangled it and braided it down, so we decent. But I will say this: the caterpillars ain't it. But as I said, we were talking about the government shutdown. Now I was working out, minding my business, and then I watched Anthony O'Neal. Now, if you don't know who Anthony O'Neal is, he well, at least for me, I knew him first from the Dave Ramsey. He's like a financial guru, like Christian financial guru, and Anthony O'Neal used to work with Dave Ramsey. But then Anthony O'Neal, a financial advisor, he's in school for it, he's decorated, so he's not just somebody like just talking like I am. So dude, he's decorated, he got the credentials. He definitely can help us out and tell us what we need to do, how we need to do it, and when we need to do it, like suggestions, advice based off your circumstance. So watch him if you haven't. Like, you need to be watching these financial channels, these financial advisors anyway. Not just like whether it's Anthony O'Neal, Dave Ramsey. I like to watch Caleb Hammer. I mean, people don't like Caleb Hammer. I love Caleb Hammer. Like, he's pretty cool. But anyway, so I was shocked to see that we are going through a government shutdown tomorrow. Like, there is no heads up or anything. And that this is for the people who are like me, who like keep their head in the sand. Babe, we got to get more aware, because there is nothing like going in. Well, if you a government employee, you gonna know, because they gonna let you know you ain't getting paid this month. But even just for regular people who think we're not getting affected by it, it's gonna affect us. It is going to affect us. So what does it mean when there is a government shutdown? So when there's a government shutdown, there means somewhere in Congress and legislature, they bumping heads. They want some funds for something, and they like, nah, we're not gonna do that. That's the layman terms of it. I haven't took poli-sci since college, which was years ago, so bear with me. I'm looking for my notes too. So basically, Congress did not agree on funding. All right, whether it's for, it used to be for, research and stuff. Like, you remember, who knows what a filibuster is? Comment down below if you know what a filibuster is. Let's really test your poli-sci skills. But sometimes if they wanted a bill passed or something like that, they would get up and they would talk nonsense, like reading cookbooks and stuff, until they get what they wanted. And they would actually stay at these at the Senate, at the House. Like, they would stay at Congress until they met something. That's what is that a filibuster? I feel like that's a filibuster. I may be wrong. Like I said, it's been years. But so Congress did not agree on funding, and many federal workers, they're gonna have to show up to work, or some of them are gonna be like, stay at home, don't do nothing until we figure something out. But a lot of them are gonna have to show up to work but still not get paid. Can you imagine it? You still have to show up to work, but you're not getting paid, and you're not getting paid. You're not getting paid. And if you can't understand what they feel like, imagine if you was a waitress and you bending over backwards and you getting everything that these people want, and they don't tip you. And now for their whole hour, you only got $2.13, which is your minimum wage. That's how it feels for the government workers. Okay? Now, some government, like if you're like a beneficiary of like Social Security or veteran benefits or something like that, you're okay. But if you're like applying for those benefits, you're gonna feel it, because they're not working. Like I said, some of them are working, and some of them have to work while they're not getting paid. Also, one thing that Anthony O'Neal mentioned is, like, for people who are not federal workers or government workers, they think that they're not getting affected. But if you have a flight, TSA agents, some of them are gonna take their leave. Like, cause why am I here and I'm not getting paid? Cause I understand that we hold these government workers to like a higher standard, but you got to remember, these are humans just like us, and we go to McDonald's and we clock in like 15 minutes early, and we expecting it on our check. So imagine how they feel. They still have to show up and know that they're not getting paid. I say that to say, be kind. If the government does shut down, we're hoping it don't. Be kind to those government workers. If you know that, hey, they may not be getting paid, be kind, be more understanding, because they don't have to be dealing with you. They are forced to deal with you at this point. They are forced to deal with you at this point. So be lenient, be kind, show gratitude, thank them for being there, thank them for serving you, thank them for helping you, because they are civil servants at the end of the day. Moving on. Also, not just like dealing with TSA. I grew up on food stamps. I already know how it works. We like to we're gonna talk about that too. With food stamps, baby. The first is coming. Some states like they stagger them out from the 1st, the 7th, the 15th, or whatever. Use your stamps wisely. This is not the time to be a name brand whore. This is not the time to just get all snacks. Get the stuff that matters. I understand your babies, they love they sweets and stuff, but they don't need to be having any. It's like I got cavities. I can say that I got a silver tooth, okay? I was one of them kids that bite and I got a silver tooth. So they don't need to be eating all them snacks. You need to get just the staple foods of what you need to feed your family. Same thing with, I think WIC is also affected. But the thing is, there are funds until the funds run out. Okay, there are funds until the funds run out. Now, mind you, like I just said, everybody don't get their stamps on the 1st. So if you like one of them people that get their stamps towards like the end of the section, we gotta hope that A, the government shutdown is done, or B, that there's still something left. You see what I'm saying? So it does, like, excuse my French, but shit rolls downhill. Shit rolls downhill, okay? So don't think just because you don't work for the government agencies that you want to be affected. Medicaid and Medicare, they still have to run those. Also, one thing that Anthony O'Neill mentioned was that if you have like a passport, if you have a passport application, then, you know, it's going to go slower. But when I looked it up on the website, where phone's on? When I looked it up on the website, it said that it won't be affected because that's usually like a fee-based process anyway. So, but then you have to think like the government workers have to process that application. So it may go, things may go slower. Like the lines at the airport gonna go slower. It shit roll downhill for real. So let me see what else it affects. So national parks, monuments, some will remain open. So this is crazy. It says if the government shuts down, how does it get reopened? All right, Democrats want, this is what Stanton House Government, this is the website. Democrats want to keep government open right now, despite controlling Congress and the White House. Republicans don't have the votes to do it alone, so they need Democratic support to get it done. Then it also says, we are eager to negotiate a bipartisan agreement that addresses the health care crisis that the American people are facing. So this is not, this is, let's see. Oh, this is for the Arizona. How did I end up on Arizona? This is for the Arizona government shutdown. So it is like a government website. Of course, it's a little biased because it's Arizona's government and it's under Greg Stanton. So there is a little bias in what I said. Now, we do want a bipartisan agreement. I like to stay out of politics, so we just talking about money right now. All right? Now, I say all this to say, when I first seen that there was a government shutdown, I was blessed. I felt blessed because I learned how to steward my money. Even like if it's not just for emergencies, I have learned to steward my money to the point where I have a savings. And I did this off a server wage. I did this off like telling myself no for small things so I can tell myself yes for big things. Now, I can have a bigger savings account, but I'm comfortable. And that's what you have to learn to do. You have to learn to be content with what you have, with the small things. If you know me, you know on Sweet Reacts, Sweet hates the phrase "not in this economy," because usually people who say stuff like "not in this economy" are gonna always try to follow trends and buy like the new things like La Boo Boo, Stanley. I'm a victim of the Stanley thing. You see it on my video and you see that Stanley back there. That's the Barbie Stanley. So I'm a victim of it too. Like I do it too. So I'm not judging you. But usually people who say "not in this economy" do have vices where their money just leaves their pocket. Right? And don't get me wrong, it does help to have more money, but it's like, what's the point in having more money dumped into you if you just a hole? You're just a hole. the money is going into a money pit investing in you because you're not saving it, you're not investing it, you're not practicing stewardship. Like, I just recently learned to put my money, like if you have a lump sum of money that you don't have to remember or like to use in the future, or even if you do, you can buy a CD. Navy Federal have CDs to where it's like 3.92% on a on like a 12-month thing. You can take it out, but you have to forfeit some of the money or something like that, so it behooves you to leave it in. But you can't say not in this economy and you spending money on DoorDash all the time. You see what I'm saying? You're always trying to hop on the newest trends. You always, I mean, it's cool to make your place a home or decorate, but you killing yourself trying to keep up with the Joneses. Okay? And that's not the way it should be. It's not. I'm a victim of this too. There's a wig I'm gonna throw away and replace very soon. You always want to buy the newest wig. Prom Day coming up. I'm gonna say it again for the people people in the back. Prom Day is coming up, and that's gonna show us how bad we are with money. I say we because there's some wigs in my cart. Okay, we need to learn how to practice stewardship, and we need to learn how to basically, how I said, say no to the small things so you can say yes to the big things. If you are affected, will be affected by this shutdown, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. It is nothing that I could do personally. It's just me empathizing, like, but baby, we got to tighten up. Even if you are a government worker, you should have income saved. Okay, whether you got a side hustle or something like that. And I know that that's easier said than done because a lot of y'all have families. A lot of y'all, you know, even if you don't have kids or a spouse, a lot of y'all are taking care of y'all parents. A lot of y'all are taking care of y'all siblings. I get it. So I understand if you like, how are you going to tell me, well, baby, you got to tell yourself no for the small things. I mean, it's cool that you and your coworkers want to go out for lunch, but did you really need to do that? Rice and beans will take you a long way with moderation because you're not supposed to be eating all them carbs. But rice and beans will take you a very long way. A very long way. You don't need to eat meat every meal. I'm going to say that again and get cussed out. You don't need to eat meat every meal. All right? Also, like, I want you to really sit here and question and think to yourself, if, like, do you have the funds saved up? Like, if your job stopped paying you today, and this is not just for government workers, this is for all of us. If your job stopped paying you today, what can you survive? Are you one medical bill away from going under? You know what I mean? And especially with dealing with today's times, you never know what laws they're going to put in. And especially with these student loans, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So you need to figure out, you need to budget. Budgeting is so fun. Like, budgeting is so fun. Saving is so fun. Now, I am getting into the arena of learning what different type of investments I can do. Even with real estate, I'm afraid of real estate. I will not lie and tell you that I want to get into real estate. That's been a goal of mine for years. And I'm not talking about being a real estate agent. I'm talking about I want to flip real estate, but I am afraid. I am afraid. That's a personal thing that's off the topic. But I hope this government shutdown kind of shed light on your finances. You don't have to be a federal worker to empathize. You don't have to be a federal worker to be like, oh man, if that happened to me, what if you get what if you just get fired? What if your company just lays everybody off? If that happens to me, what will I have? Do you have it in you to be like, okay, I need to cut back on this? One thing that I've been homeless twice. It shouldn't have happened a second time, but you know, if you know this channel, life happens, right? But I've been homeless twice, and before I got homeless the first time, I used to make the joke when people be like, what you think about? I used to be like, I think about being homeless just so I know what to do. And that way, when I was homeless, I was not homeless long. I was not homeless long because I knew I'm going to have to save money. Do not spend your money on fast food. And if you're homeless, you don't have an appetite. Well, at least for me, when I was homeless, I did not have no appetite. I didn't want to eat. I had money for, that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. But I might do that next. We're gonna do that next. I was homeless twice, so we gonna do that video next. It's gonna be more of a story time. But like when I was homeless, I had money for like groceries. Like I would do oatmeal, tuna packets, stuff like that. My gym membership made sure that I had a shower no matter what, and I needed to work out to try to get into the military. That didn't work out, but I tried. So my gym membership, like the groceries, my expenses to trying to find an apartment, gas. I saved up money to get a car. Like I had a job, like living out of my car during the pandemic. You really have to steward your money. You have to be driven with your money. Sometimes you can't go out with your friends. And I don't know what your goal is. Maybe your goal is to get the house. Maybe your goal is to, save for a car. I don't know what your goal is, but you have to be driven. You got to be able to drown out the noise and say, you know what, I can't do that with y'all. I would love to, but I can't. I can't keep up with the Joneses. I want to be in Chicago right now, but I can't. So I can, but it would not behoove me. I need to save. I need to stack. So that's how we doing that. But thank y'all for watching. Share this, tag a friend, and I want you to really keep that in mind. Comment down below, like, what are you doing it for? What are you saving for? Because when you have a goal in mind, that's what really make you want to steward your money and save your money. It become a game to you. I love it. I love it. Okay. And also, if you have some tips on investing, drop it down below because I'm all ears. If you have some tips on saving, drop it down below. All ears. Okay. All right. Anyway, remember to spread love, pursue purpose, and center God, and everything will be A-okay. Bye. I gotta turn this thing off. Hold up. There we go.